Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Holy Crap, the VlogCast. VlogCast that comes from a skeptical point of view to try to answer the questions of why. This VlogCast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect when somebody on Facebook finally said, just take your stupid logic and go somewhere else. We're just posting stuff because it's fun. It doesn't have to make sense or be smart. Yeah. It is June 8, 2014, and this is the episode, what was the name of that song from the mid-'80s? It had a number in it, something about the Vietnam War. We'll come back to it later. This week we're talking about PSAs. That is not to mean the PSA that Nathan Fillion did about Swamp Ass. We're talking about presuppositional apologetics. And it is almost as brain-numbing as you might think from that kind of intro. Joining me on the roundtable this evening, we have a special guest, and we're going to get to that in just a couple of moments. Right now joining us is Joe Cox.
How you doing, folks? Name's Joe. Born and raised in Chicago as a Roman Catholic, served 8 years in the military as a 19-kilo armored crew member, and currently living in Pittsburgh as an atheist graphic designer.
Unrenowned Tech.
Hi, folks. Born in Annapolis, raised in New York, and spent about 3 years in a local pub, and
Wow.
yeah, one heck of a tab, and I'm an atheist.
Okay. Dallin?
Good evening, folks. I go by the nickname Dallin here online. I was born and raised into a Lutheran household with a bit of a twist in that my parents always told me to keep an open mind and to never shy away from learning. Religion was never considered a very big thing in my household. It was just there probably as a community bend. As I got out into the world, I started seeing different religions, started understanding them a bit more, and eventually came to the point that, to me, religion is not only not important, based on what I see and hear these days, it is detrimental. And it is something I think we as a species, the world over, has to step away from. And we can start with the fundamentalists, but eventually we have to put it in its proper place, which is out of society, as far as I'm concerned.
I am the host of the whole group. I am known as Shujin Tribble. I was born into a Roman Catholic household in Brooklyn. Raised on Long Island, I currently live outside of Buffalo, New York, and I am an unabashed atheist. Joining us this evening is somebody that after deciding what I wanted to talk about tonight, I had to have him on here. Joining us tonight from Atheist on Air, this is Cash. How you doing, man? Thank you.
Man, I am honored to be with y'all tonight. I'm Cash. I grew up Mormon. I ended up moving into the Baptist religion, and then the Pentecostal, ended up settling in a Baptist-costal and started preaching. At 35, I decided I was going to, I thought I had gotten a call from God, and turned out it was a wrong number, but ultimately I was going to become an evangelist, you know, and I got chill bumps and everything, and it was going to happen. And so I read the Bible, and I'm an atheist now.
Yeah, that's your first problem right there.
What's wrong with you? Don't you know you're not supposed to be reading and asking questions?
Oh.
Baptist-costal sounds to me like a really dangerous cocktail.
Well, it's the good out of each one. The Baptist religion.
That is a loaded statement if I've ever heard one.
Well, the Baptists are known for being able, you know, once saved, always saved, and the Pentecostals are funner. If that, they're just fun. Where else can you play with snakes, roll around an aisle? I had a pastor that I trained with that has been preaching for 40-something years, and he's done snake handling, and he's done it all. He's, you know, made people's legs get longer. I've watched him do it. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think that I have.
No,
Wait,
I can't say that I have.
Didn't Chris Angel do that?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's Chris Angel, but I know Penn and Teller, or I believe Penn and Teller did it at one point, but there is it's a common one among the Pentecostals where they'll take somebody that has a limp and they'll lengthen their leg in the service, and everybody gets to see it grow.
Yeah, I think I've heard about this one. I think Randy had shown off how to do this one a couple of times at like TAM or something.
See, you try that.
I'm kind of glad I never got into Pentecostal because I'm 6'3" already. I don't need to be any taller.
Yeah,
Right.
You try this kind of
I pulled
thing.
out my dick at the first service because I just got in line with my dick out.
Wrong leg.
I was just gonna say, which leg were they making this grow? Because if you're into the choir boys and all that,
Oh.
Well, while we're on the subject of the Catholics, you try pulling this shit, and they'll probably burn you at the stake.
Oh, boy.
Okay, before we go any much further, let me remind everybody, because I've been actually taking a couple of notes, believe it or not, while I've been working and listening to everything. I did specifically write into the title of everything, or in the description for tonight's show, that very likely this, even though it's not one of our 10 episodes, this is probably going to be a somewhat not safe for work type of episode. So for those of you that may not necessarily find it a safe thing to do, there's a very good opportunity and possibility that Cash may utter the following items.
Oh, hell, I just screwed up, didn't I?
No, that's okay. Hang on. Fuck, shit, cunt, damn, hell. Motherfucker, fucktard, scumsucker, asshat, fuck.
I didn't know you could use that way.
George Carlin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I got them all.
Shit, piss,
Well,
cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I have a long history of ripping off from other people's shows when they're on with us over here. For instance, when the guys from Scathing Atheist were on, when I introduced Heath, I asked him, so Heath, you ready to throw Noah under the bus for some laughs and a lot of page views for us? So you've had the opportunity of having him on with you, and you've had a good time.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't realize I can go without cussing. My vocabulary shrinks down enormously, but that's the pride of my vocabulary.
Yeah, where's the fun at without it?
I did just get this book though, so I'm working on I don't know.
Ooh,
Wow.
well done.
The big book of big words.
Oh, I do this when
Do
I'm
you have
in
that
the-
on? Do you have that next to the machine that goes ping?
No, I have this next to my typewriter, basically, so my keyboard, so that I can look smart, I can sound smart, until some asshole invites me onto a live show, and then I'm fucked. So I've got.
Now let's be fair about this. I am a bastard. I am a retroactive bastard, but a bastard nonetheless, apparently. And I'll tell you all about that in a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, a couple of things I want to cover before we actually get to the meat and potatoes of the show. Cash has actually done a lot of stuff that has been really interesting, and not just him, but also I wanted to give you a lot of congratulations to your daughter Kaylee, because I was hearing how you were talking about she'd been working on a Secular Student Association. Was it a franchise or an association with her high school out there in North Carolina, and had a little bit of problems with it, getting it going. And from what I've just heard with the episode that I've been listening to, was influential in getting another 3 chapters started in different places.
Yeah, they've been influential. She ultimately didn't get to start hers. Hers may end up starting up next year under someone else running it. The city attorney here, he's the attorney for the school board, has taken a mind to attack our family, and so we got off the radar, and so she was approved for the club, which inspired some other clubs, which is good, but we had to stop.
I'm sorry to hear that, but still, please, when you get the opportunity, please pass along the congratulations from all of us that, she fought a good fight, and the whole bunch of you, too. And,
I will.
Congratulations on that much.
She started her own podcast 2 weeks ago, and she's she's put her foot into that ring, and she's enjoying it. So
Yep,
her
plug
and
that
her
one.
daughter.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
Plug it. Cash.
Yeah.
Plug the podcast. You know you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Lucifer's Young Ladies. is it. It's lyl.fm.
Excellent. Okay.
I love it.
And yes, and you've also been working on. First off, ReasonCon apparently went over. Was gangbusters. Congratulations on that, and setting up for 2.
Thank you.
What was the final? Head count, by the way?
I don't know how accurate it is, but my partner in that crime of setting up the ReasonCon 1, she said somewhere around 380. I don't know for sure, so we never tallied it.
Now, if the head count was about 380, what was the snapper count?
Wow, really, Jack? Really?
Hey, I knew he would get it. He's old enough.
Fair enough. Okay, and
It's always good to know that I'm not actually old enough to know all of the in-jokes. I'm sorry, that one? Hey, Rick?
Hey, I'm officially the youngest guy here, I'm pretty sure, so...
that's
Well, I'm
okay.
glad you don't know it then, because then I really feel like an idiot. Well, okay, more so than usual.
Yeah, the only thing I get to contribute is what it feels like to have a couple of bullets pass through your gut.
Yeah, let's not have that one tonight. Last item, by the way. Well, actually, I'm going to do these really fast. Also, congratulations on finding a billboard company willing to put up the billboards you guys are working on.
Well, we haven't got. We have the salesman and the sales manager approved off on the billboard. We had someone yesterday send us $500 just out of the blue randomly for the first billboard. So
Nice.
now it'll be this week to get the company to sign off on it. As far as, the sales manager, they want to sell you anything. Oh yeah, we can get that passed. We can get that passed, but we will see. It's using a Bible scripture, so I'm hoping that it'll work.
Yeah, and I'm probably being a little bit cryptic for the folks that are unfamiliar with that one. Cash and the guys from Atheist on Air, which, by the way, that would be AOA.FM, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, look at that, right there on the screen for us all. AOA.FM, stamping himself all over the place. You goddamn slut. Okay, and what they've been doing is they had set up a Patreon account specifically to get people to contribute for these billboards that are going to go up. Now, remind us, they're going to be going up in the North Carolina area specifically?
Well, the first one's going to go in South Carolina.
South, okay.
That's where we've decided to put the first one, so that we can play off of this Catfish Creek Trailer Park thing.
Which is, as I understand it, it's only just down the road a bit from Westport, Virginia. So that's a whole other thing for another time. We'll talk about that one later. Now, let's see if I remember correctly. It is a black billboard with white lettering on it, and the first one was going to be.
It's gonna say kill Sabbath day workers, basically, and then the scripture, and then at the bottom it says areyouarealchristian.com.
Now,
it sounds like you're taking that out of context.
And that's what I think is the most beautiful part about it, because, like you said, you're going straight for chapter and verse, and you're going right at it and showing off exactly the piece. And as I understood it, you got about three or four different passages that you guys were hoping to work towards, right?
Well, we've had some others that we know for sure won't be approved, and
The raping and pillaging, probably.
yeah, you can't really mention rape.
Well, you actually might be able to get the rape one through. The pillaging one, that's violence. We can't have violence now.
Well, I saw one. Somebody sent us one, and we're going to try to get this approved at some point once we have the money to do more billboards. And it said something to the effect: support traditional. I posted it on my Facebook today. Support traditional marriage. 4 camels and a goat or something. And then it gives the scripture. I think there's something in the Bible that I can use and put together to make that intelligible, so that people go, oh, I don't believe that's in there, and then look it up and it's there.
Surprise.
That's right.
Now, the funny The funny part about it is, if you go with that kind of traditional marriage, conjugal visits basically mean that would be the perfect form of birth control, wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, with the camels and goats and that kind of thing. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, there are minotaurs out there somewhere, right?
That's true. That's true. And you've got the Nephilim, which was a product of, in the Bible, a product of God's sons, these huge things, raping man's daughters and ending up with these half angel, half human beings, which in turn were our giants, David and Goliath.
Right, which then makes me, Dallin, I was going to come to you and ask if you were just a dwarf version of the Nephilim.
Actually, no, I'm not. For one thing, I'm Norwegian by descent, so we're naturally big people. It's really funny. I didn't really start hearing references to the Nephilim until I started playing Diablo 3 by Blizzard Software. And honestly, the mythos that they use in that game, to me, sounds like it has more credence than this stuff.
Doesn't surprise me in the least.
He's not a Nephilim. He's descended from Vikings. They're just a scourge from God.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that explains
We're the
it.
ones that gave him the finger. Oh, wait a minute, that's Scottish. My bad.
Just remember, it goes in a very specific order. You pillage, rape, then burn.
Yes.
Well, depending on how much you rape, you might get the burns.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, very much so.
Well, no, you know what? I'm not getting into any lube jokes. No, I refuse.
Okay, and item last. I was on my way making a wedding cake delivery today and listening to you today, and the first time that I've actually heard you mention that I believe it was your son is a big-time Kerbal Space Program player. Dude, big-time thumbs up. You have no idea how happy I was, and I'm just like, oh my god, we all know about this one.
He is. My son is autistic. He's my youngest child, and he's got I don't know if you could say it autistic. It's more, he's diagnosed as something else. It's another word. It's a branch off autism.
Savant, perhaps?
Huh?
Savant?
No.
Okay.
Asperger's the only one that I can think of.
Asperger's.
Okay.
And that's what he was diagnosed with, but there's like 80 million strains of that.
Yeah.
But at about 6, he started, playing video games, but he didn't play them. He looked for glitches, and that was all he did. He looked for glitches for hours and hours. Now he's gotten into this Kerbal Space Program, and he loves it.
Yeah, I bet.
But he wants to go out of it. He doesn't want to go on any mission, set up any bases on any of the planets. He wants to go outside of it, like escape its. He says he wants to escape the sun's gravity, but he says he looked it up and you can't, but he's going to still try.
Yeah, I actually had a similar experiment myself. Before I actually bought the full game, I had been playing the demo version, which, you don't have very many things available to you there, and you only get the first 3 crew members, and I still have that demo game saved, and Jebediah has been currently going out of the solar system for the last, 3 years now, Shuj?
I have no idea at this point.
Sounds like your son likes to find the box and then find the way out of it. He would make an awesome beta tester.
Yeah.
Because I used to do that. I beta tested Diablo 2, the expansion for Diablo 2, Alice, a whole bunch of games for IDOS. It's fun stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only one I've beta tested is War Thunder.
That's how beta testing Diablo 2 was fun. I didn't sleep for 5 days.
All right. Now that we've gotten all the mutual smoke blowing, let's get right into it finally and go along with all this. If you're watching live, which currently it only shows Truthmonger watching. Hi, Matt. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. If you're joining us, please, by all means, take advantage of the Q&A system that is available right now somewhere on the page. I don't know where it actually is. I've never actually watched one of the Hangouts. If you have a question for us and you'd like us to tackle them, please, by all means, go ahead and type them up, and we'll see what we can do there. If you'd like to hit me on Twitter, Facebook, over here on G+, or whatever, you can find me under the name Shujin Tribble. Sometimes it's one word, sometimes it's two. Just do a search for it in just one string, and you'd be surprised what comes up after a while. Now, presuppositional apologetics is painful.
Excuse me.
You doing okay over there, Tech?
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Anyway, the whole thing that brought this up was having watched the debate, and I use the term very loosely in this particular case, with Matt Dillahunty and Sen Ten Schleichelhoff, and you know what? I don't even give a shit, because
I just call the guy Sai.
Yeah, we could just call him Sai.
I just sum it up with, Sai 10 bitch muffin.
I'll go with that. Cash, I want to start off with you, because listening to the way that you were talking about it during one of your shows, like right afterwards, was the piece that really got me to saying, I want him on the show, because I watched part of it, I had my daughter watching with me, and even she was like looking up from her 3DS, looking over at me with this look on her face, and we both agreed, like not even 30 seconds into the actual discussion with Sai's start, we both agreed, and I paused it. It's just painful right off the bat. 30 seconds into it, what were you thinking?
I had several moments, or more than several, of the deer in the headlights going on, just because it's the word salad thing. It's impossible for me to get beyond unless I took it, edited it, or took the words from it, whatever that's called, and then looked it up afterwards. I don't have time during it, so I'd listen to Matt more than I would Sai to see his response. Well, what I noticed is this game. And so, yes, I was aggravated. The short answer, I was aggravated immediately when I wouldn't even discuss something with a presuppositionalist, because that's starting in bullshit and think you're going to go anywhere. I'm blown away that Matt would even entertain the idea of being with Sai. I will avoid a presuppositionalist, because we're not going to ever get anywhere.
And that becomes painfully obvious during the right near the end, where it became a question mark of the audience asking the questions.
Yeah, the Q&A.
And the Q&A. And it came down to the same question that was asked of the Amish Wolverine. There it is. We had to add it in there. And it was, what amount of evidence would change your mind? And I mean, Cash, you heard him, same as we all did. The answer was nothing.
Nothing, because there is no changing your mind. If you know your son is your son, there's nothing going to change your mind. The problem with a presuppositionalist is they've just picked a random son, and he happens to be imaginary, as far as invisible, but they're committed to it. They're committed all the way to the bank with it. And I so wish there was an afterlife, only for the one reason. Not for me, not for any personal gain, but for them to see that there's nothing there. It's kind of shitty. We die, and the Christians go, well, there were Mamaw. Mamaw probably met him, at the door. And us, we know that we're dead. But I just think it's unfair. The whole thing is unfair. It's an unfair argument. I wouldn't have it.
Yeah, it is a big old, just tie your brain into knots and just have to deal with that one. I don't want to completely take over everything with myself and Cash, even if it is my show, because whatever. Dallin, Tech, Joe, any one of you want to give a quick and dirty what P.S.A. actually is, or what it means, or your general idea on how it is? Joe?
I can choose.
Well, I looked it up after watching the video. I did a little bit of homework, just a little,
Good man.
And presuppositional apologists in general are just people who will stick up for whatever the argument is, regardless of how of what kind of negative, regardless of the opposition that they have. And Christians in particular will defend Christianity against any and all criticism whatsoever. The word is hard for me.
P.S.A. Just do P.S.A.
PSAs are even worse because they're starting from the baseline that God is the end-all, be-all of any rational thinking. Everything is circular back to God, no matter what. So no matter what you say, no matter what kind of logic you try to use, no matter what kind of argument you try to use, they are going to take it back to God one way or another, and they're going to ignore whatever the hell you've said.
Okay. Tech, I'm going to come over to you in just a couple of seconds. I see you got stuff going on your screen. Dallin, what do you want to add on to that or dovetail into the beginning of the arguments that were going on?
There really wasn't much more except, well, like I said before we got on the air, I really think P.S.A. should have taken a page from, I believe, the Pentecostal faith and just started speaking in tongues, because I think it would have made a lot more sense to a lot of people. Pretty much, again, I watched the Ken Ham Bill Nye debate as well, and I saw a lot of the same things in the opening and closing arguments between the two debates that were very similar. There was what P.S.A. called the righteous mockery, although he didn't think he did it.
Mm.
And Matt was pretty good about it because, actually, I respect the hell out of Matt. I've listened to his show quite a few times. I think he was getting mentally derailed as much as the rest of us because, well, like Cash called it, word salad.
Yeah, ain't the truth.
And I am the furthest thing from a vegetarian as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe.
Well, I personally, there were many moments during that entire discussion that I honestly was expecting Matt to just get up and, just start screaming at this guy. I know if I had been in Matt's shoes, I would have probably gotten up, picked up my chair, and started beating him to death on stage with it.
And
giving him a first-class ticket to go meet his God.
I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, I know you're being facetious. You're just being funny about it. But I think that I would have lost it at some point and just stood up and said "fuck you" and walked off because there was nothing to gain there, other than we learned some great responses from Matt. But the only problem with that is those responses are more specifically geared towards P.S.A.
Well. See, I look at it this way. Now, you said so yourself, Cash, that you would never debate a presuppositionalist, and everybody knows sure as hell I wouldn't either, because I would have the same response. I would eventually just stand up, say fuck you, and walk off because I was getting a headache. But what Matt did, or to me, what he did in this thing is he brought the presuppositionist,
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. No, he brought people like P.S.A. to public awareness, much the same way that the Ken Ham debate brought the young Earth creationist to the, I would say, the wider global audience. So once again, the rest of the world can look at what is going on in the United States with people like this and go, I'm sorry, but are you guys fucking crazy?
No, I'm not saying at all that it should not happen.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I couldn't do it and don't want to do it. I don't even have the arsenal of knowledge that Matt Dillahunty has to be able to counter each one of those things. I would have had to have a big book in front of me and some Google and been working and saying, let's take a commercial break between each question and then I'll try to decipher your salad.
In that case, I'll have to beg your forgiveness for my presupposition based on what you said. You said that you wouldn't, and therefore I presuppose that nobody should. My bad.
And to be fair, Cash, I mean, the biggest problem that you've got is language. As I understand it, your primary language is vulgar. And you and me, buddy, we're on the same page right there. I mean, I'm originally, well, I was born in Brooklyn. You are, all right, maybe not, but, I mean, come on, vulgar is our primary language. I mean, come on, seriously.
I can do it. I can do a conversation without any profanity. And
Yeah, but where's the fun in that? Seriously.
It's fun, and fuck has a needed spot in the American language because it means something to somebody.
Yes.
It's more than just the sex part of it. I'm talking about the word like fuck me or holy fuck. I mean, it's such a beautiful word, and people know what's going on. Like when you say fuck, they know something fucking's happening. And so, even if it's good something or a bad something, they know to pay attention.
Yeah.
Say Jiminy Crickets or something, and you don't get the same attention.
Unrenowned Tech, I see that you're using our fan view. Why would you? The napkin religion is the one true religion because it says so right here on this napkin. Yeah.
This napkin is presuppositionalist.
Yeah. But that does get me to the opening of the debate.
Yes.
Basically, and actually I just posted this to our local Skeptics in the Pub group here in Calgary. P.S.A. basically killed his argument with his second premise. He said it is reasonable to believe in things that are true. God is true, therefore it is reasonable to believe in God. God is true? Okay, please demonstrate.
And see,
And as soon as he got put on the spot for demonstrating,
Right.
Out came, well, that's a logical fallacy. That's this, that's that. Like, he was tossing his word salad after that.
Is that true, or do you just know it? Do you know it's true, or do you just think it's true? I hated that fucking game every goddamn time he opened his mouth. He was playing that word.
We could have had a drinking game on that one, too.
Well,
Every
what do
time I said brain in a jar, or brain in a vat,
Damn it! You
Take a
beat me
drink.
to it. You beat me to it. I was about to say, what do you know? You're just a brain in a jar for all you know.
Right, for all I know, yeah.
Exactly. Like, there were so many wordplay drinking games on there that we all should have been completely shit-faced by the end of it.
Matt got him at the end, though, with that. He reversed that logic right back on him. And then he apologized. I was wanting to, like, root and, I wanted to hear crowds cheering and confetti dropping from the ceiling because he really fucked him on that one. And I'm sure Cy knows that. But it just didn't happen. Can I ask or say something here? Apologetics, to me, period, is ridiculous. So when you put it with presuppositionalist apologetics, I mean, that's like a double fucktarded with a, like a 2 above it or something, a small 2, like it's to the second power or maybe the 50th power. It's just double fuck nutted bullshit. Well,
it's a fucktard Sunday covered in dumbass.
There you go. Because if you talk apologetics, what else do we need apologetics in? We don't have apologetics at the doctor's office. We don't have apologetics in any other field that I know of. It's only in the religious bullshit field that we have to have these apologetics. It's like presuppositionalists. That didn't even start. That didn't even take hold till 1967, I believe. Some philosopher dude. And it's gotten mainstream in the last 10 years. 20 years, since the 90s. And it's because Christians go, oh, we're fucked. Yeah, that Bible is fucked up. Okay, here's what we're going to do. The new game plan is God exists, all right, and Christianity is the one true religion. We're going to start there. Now we can discuss anything else. We can debate anybody.
Yeah, that was like the bullshit that he was coming into at the end of that with the whole, oh, well, do you believe in the Quran? Or, I don't know. Are you Muslim? Are you Muslim? Well, it says here that, the Quran says that the Bible is true. And if the Quran is true, then the Bible is true. And if the Bible is true, then the Quran is false.
False. Right.
Yeah, I tried to follow that one myself, and in seriousness, I went around it 3 different times. I broke the rewind button on my YouTube viewer trying to figure that shit out. Seriously hurt.
I'm actually looking forward to. I'm listening to Koranify Me right now, in fits and spurts, because it's a painful one to listen to because of, not because of the narrator, but because of the content. And so far, all I've heard so far is, do this or you will suffer. Do this or you will suffer. I'm looking forward to actually hearing where it says this whole thing about the Bible being the...
You want the virgins. Go ahead.
Well, well, is it virgins or is it raisins? It depends on who you talk to.
It might be 72 Virgils.
For all you know, it could be 72 Virginians, asshole!
Got 72 Virginians, boy, are they in trouble.
Oh, God, don't get me started on that.
No, but all I'm saying is that I want to get to I want to find the part in the Quran that says that. Just to see, like, Sai talked a lot of shit, and he talked a lot of bullshit. I want to see if that part is also bullshit. Just because I want to know for myself.
Yeah, now see, that's something that ends up being exactly the whole reason why I wanted to do this kind of discussion, these drawn out pieces about the why part of it all. Now, we've basically talked about how much it was a pain in the ass, and there really is no other way of putting it. It was a real slog to listen to Sai and his part of the argument. And to back up a little bit for everybody, make sure everybody is on board. The link is already done in the on the information part for this video. If you want to find out a little bit more about what we're talking about, it's a 2-hour slogfest to try and listen to the debate, but please, by all means, take advantage of the time. The guy who did the video is Seth Andrews. Nice guy. I was lucky enough to get the chance to talk to him a while ago. He did the video, did the audio, did a wonderful job of it.
And he posted it on the Thinky Atheist YouTube channel as well.
Right, which is pretty much where I've got it linked over to. And with a debate, you have whatever the premise is, and then you have 2 teams, whether it's a single or multiple people on either side, who say the premise that we're talking about is true, or the premise is false. And the point is that you're supposed to start from the middle of it all and build your case towards whichever side. Sai's entire argument is, or was, effectively in a nutshell, is it reasonable? Oh shit! What was it exactly? It was. Is it reasonable to believe in God?
Something like that.
Close enough. Is it reasonable to believe in God? People believe in real things. I believe this is a real thing. Therefore, yes, it's reasonable. That was the entirety of his argument towards the premise is real. The premise is right.
But how did you like, though, Shujin, when he said over and over, you all believe in God?
Oh,
right. Now that's another piece. We'll come to that in a sec. And Matt's piece of it all was saying, look at the Emperor. He has no clothes as he's trying to walk towards his premise, and he's moonwalking in place.
I don't want to look at the Emperor with no clothes. I want to look at the princess with no clothes.
Completely understandable. Joe, you've been waiting, and thank you. What was it that you wanted to pop in here?
Well, Dallin had brought up the part where, he wanted to know where in the Quran it supposedly says that the Bible is true. And me being kind of the fill-in for Witchy here, I kind of do the whole look up stuff while we're on air.
Oh, you're a Google bit. Thank you.
Oh, yes, I am. I am the repository of everybody's filth. It is supposed that in the Quran, the Quran's equivalent of the Book of Moses, 544, that it is recorded that Allah had been bestowed the Torah, which is the original writings that Allah had given to Moses, or not Moses, Muhammad, sorry. It's been a long night, and I need to get sloshed. Anyway, it is assumed, that the Quran is in 84:19 mentioning the book of Abraham, even though it does not appear in the 66 books of the Protestant Bible or the 73 books of the Catholic Bible. The idea that it is referring to the Torah is complete bullshit, because they assume that it's referring to the 39 books of the Old Testament. And it is an indisputable fact that the 39 books were not revealed to the prophet Moses. It is also incorrect to assert that the first 5 books of the Old Testament, called the
Pentateuch.
Yep, that's the one.
The Torah, as you will.
Yeah.
Were revealed to the prophet Moses. So, they're trying to say that because the Quran recognizes Moses in his testament, that it recognizes the Old Testament as being true. And that's not the case.
So yet another presupposition.
Exactly.
Why am I not surprised?
This whole...
Go ahead.
Well, it's just that this whole presupposition thing, the real backbone behind it is that they're trying to say that you know that there's a God, and you're being knowingly sinful for doubting him. And, I hadn't even thought about it until, shortly before the show, and then, that's when I realized, well, shit, guess who else we get to equate this asshole to?
Well, it's like Matt Slick. Matt Slick, has a whole speech at CARM, his Christian Apologetics Research Ministries, CARM, you can look it up. Matt Slick has a whole thing about how the Torah not says the Bible's true, but says that it's not all bad. It's not all, it's not corrupt, I think is the word he used. But so they all try to spin stuff out of it, but the Quran says that Christ wasn't the Son of God. He was just a prophet. He was a special kid.
He had special needs.
But
we got him a white helmet,
and
then we decorated with camo.
Well, to quote Dennis Leary, be glad Jesus died when he did, because if he lived to be, Elvis's age, he'd be, walking around with a beer gut and all. But
on the bright side, he'd be able to put them both into each of his hands and be a double drinker the hard way.
But
well, not just that, he'd also be able to go, ha-ha, bread and fish, cheeseburger.
Who? Bring me a cheeseburger.
Who wants bacon on theirs?
Who? Bring me a cheeseburger. Where's Mary Magdalene? I need a blowjob. But the thing that I was getting at before was that
her age.
The thing about the whole P.S.A. thing is that I just realized before the show that Fred Phelps himself was also one of these P.S.A. douchebags, because he was the one going around saying, you know you're wrong, you know you're wrong, you know you're wrong, and you're definitely going to burn in hell. This guy is no different than him, except for the fact that he's using a cleaner vocabulary and not being quite as big a douchebag.
I'm really glad that I'm not the only one who saw it that way.
Now, the funny that you say it that way. No, wait a second. It was, who the hell was it? Also, it was. Cash, help me out on this one. It was who is it? Does the street preaching thing?
Abbott and Costello?
The mustache, the banana dude.
Ray Comfort.
Ray Comfort. He does that whole damn thing, twisting words around and changing it around, and no matter what you say, you always fall into the trap of that you're a bad person and all that shit. Until and unless you finally go outside of the script and, well, no, wait a second. It's funny you should say that, because there's a thing about this whole thing, and only then can you try to derail the whole damn thing, and then suddenly, oh, no, you got to come back to my script over here. See, because line 14, see, it's right over here. You need to say that. drive me up a freaking wall watching that one too. All right, so the why about this whole thing that I really want to tackle. First off, as we discussed, apologetics, like you said, Si, started in the mid to late '60s. Now I'm trying to remember. Did that not coincide with the conversion of U.S. or English-speaking area Roman Catholic changing over from Latin to local language, English especially? I think it was sometime about that time frame.
Who are you asking?
You, Cash.
Well, that's a scary one. I think I'm glitching here.
It could be.
No, I was teasing. The
bastard.
I honestly don't know. I don't know when the transition over to the languages happened. I do know that, when the printing press, when Martin Luther started printing the Bible like crazy.
That was Gutenberg.
Well, I know, but I didn't say that Martin Luther invented the printing press, but when the printing press was invented, Martin Luther went crazy, at least the way I understood it, putting out these Bibles against the order by the Catholic Church.
Right, he was having them printed in the local languages for the local people, which at the time it was German, as I recall. Where he was starting it.
Right. I just don't know which would make sense for Gutenberg about the same time, or at least that's the way I understood it. I thought that was when that transpired.
Yeah, it was Gutenberg that enabled him to do that.
Right. But it was about the same time as far as the timeline. It was Gutenberg's printing press came out, and then that enabled Martin Luther to start printing gobs of Bibles.
Yeah, and the thing that he noticed was when he could actually read the entire thing without having somebody else read it to him.
Didn't say what the Catholics had been saying.
Yeah, and he went ahead and came up with a list of all his issues with the Bible as it was written, and tacked it up on the damn abbey door, and that's when they went to excommunicate his ass.
Right. Yeah, they actually arrested him too, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's, the excommunication and arrest usually went hand in hand back in those days.
Yeah, and beheading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if I can just break in here, Truthmonger's in our Q&A system right now, and he did post that the origin of the presuppositional apologetic actually started in the 1920s. I decided to take another look, and sure enough, it actually got started by a Dutch theologian named Cornelius van Til, a member of the Orthodox Presbyterian Church, who began to adopt the P.S.A approach as early as the late 1920s. So,
oh, really?
Thank you, Truthmonger, for actually getting me to get off my butt and contribute.
Yeah.
But, like, what P.S.A is doing is definitely not a new practice.
The earliest stuff that I could find was 1967 by, a world-renowned apologist.
Right.
This is interesting because it's Jesus. Now wait a second. That means that this kind of thing is damn near 100 years. 100 years of people trying to say, look, we're right because we told you that we're right, and why won't you believe us? And I think that's where I want to take the why.
They didn't have the napkin.
That would explain a great many things. I think the why with all this now, it really has to come up with why would there be a need for apologetics of any kind? And like you said, Si, in the only area is in religion. So, I mean, the answer would, of course, be fairly obvious, but what the hell? We'll go through this one real easy. Why would you need it? Why do you think it's been necessary?
Who are you asking?
You know what? I'm just gonna throw it open to whoever wants to go ahead and take the mic first on this one. Because otherwise, I'm just going to monopolize everything.
Okay. Well,
you can call me a cynic on this one, and you may very well do so, and apparently not an articulate one. No, it's a defensive position, and the words we've been tossing around all night, word salad.
Yeah, which is what Truthmonger had said. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's confusion, misdirection, and deflection to get away from your root questions. Like it is quite literally, it's the science of politics.
Yeah. Well, in a way, it's kind of almost the science of law in a way, because looking back at the etymology of the word. Now, I was confused when I first heard of this term, because everybody assumes that apology. They're like apologizing for past wrongs of the Christian.
Yeah, you think they were all Canadian stuff.
Except no, that's not the case. The etymology is actually from Classical Greek apologia, which is actually the term from the Greek legal system, where a defendant would state his case in reply to the prosecution. So it comes literally from the Greek term for speaking in defense. And funny enough, it's used in a number of different. It's been used in a number of different ways. Not so much nowadays, because we have better words. But,
right, that's exactly it, though. We have better words, and it's called my defense attorney.
Yeah,
and instead of saying, "Oh, here's my group of apologists." Yeah,
and the actual beginning of the term was from the early Christian writers, back in the 2nd to 3rd century, who were defending their faith against critics from the outside.
Right, so it's Christian in nature, and it's definitely in our society Christian in nature, or religious in nature, because I've talked with Muslim apologists. I've talked to a Mormon apologist, or with 2 of them in the Mormon church, but they have 2 teams that tag team and go after make excuses for their bullshit.
Yeah, let's not get into the Scientologists then.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
That's one rabbit hole we don't want to go down again.
No, absolutely not. Although one of these days, I do want to end up talking about them, which should be interesting to find out just how long it takes them to, have somebody stop by the window over here with a little red laser coming up.
Yeah, I'll be putting on the mask for that one so I don't get sued.
Yeah, they can try to show up at my door. I don't recommend it.
Can't imagine why. All right, so now the question becomes, why would it be necessary if any particular religion, and it doesn't matter which one, if any particular religion would have a leg to stand on, any leg at all to stand on, why would apologetics even be a necessity? Why would it even be a consideration?
No, I could understand it in alchemy. You could have apologists for alchemy. The flat earthers, they could use some apologists. But I can't, or Glenn Beck followers, they need apologists.
They need a lot more than they need a shovel.
They need to get their beds adjusted.
Lobotomy. But you're right. You're right. It's not needed. Period. It's only needed if it's kind of like the faith argument. When people go, well, you have to have faith. It's the same to me as a presuppositionalist argument, or similar. They're similar arguments, because by reducing it to faith, and that is to me a reduction, then you've just opened up to any belief, because now anything can be credible as long as you have enough faith.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, Shujin, I think you answered the question with your own question. And I hate to sound like Cy when I say that, but in your question you asked, without a leg to stand on. It's right there. The reason you have these presuppositional apologists, or apologists in general, is because there is no concrete leg for things like religion to stand on. It's all matters of faith. It's matters of detaching yourself from, full reality. And Tech, wake up!
Jeez,
He's out, man.
Now, wait a second. Tech, unrenowned Tech. Oh my God, I think we may have lost him.
Earth to Tech. Earth to Tech. Are you there?
Wow, this is the first. Okay,
Come in, Bugs Bunny. Come in, Bugs Bunny.
Apparently, the subject was so boring that he passed out. The poor guy.
All right, we will see what happens. I've gone ahead and I've muted him out for the time being, and we'll see what happens. Wow, that's a first. Considering that this is, a late night gig, somehow I'm not totally surprised. Although I think maybe a little bit of coffee would be his thing. Oh yeah. By the way,
I know what happened. It was those damn Scientologists. They showed up. They hit him with a tranq dart.
They got him.
All right, 1 second.
Okay. What do you? No, Joseph. We can't be doing that because we don't have plausible deniability. We have witnesses, and it's video recorded. This is a bad combination. You of all people should know that. I don't know what I'm going to do. Just because I know it'll give you a bit of a laugh. Just because I cash. When my wife was still alive, and this goes back a little ways, I had told her a long time ago that there were only 5 women that I would ever leave her for, and this is one of them, because I thought Betty was just absolutely yeah. They were all 5 tunes, and she took it in good graces, and she finally said, "Okay, shoot, but just remember 2 little words." What, hon? Paper cuts. I had a really
That
good
is
lady.
awesome. That is fantastic.
Yeah, and then she also reminded me afterwards of another word, because apparently she wanted to make sure that she drove the idea home. What was that, hon? 2 more words. What's that? Potato peeler.
Oh, wow.
I think I would have liked her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have.
She has a very
good lady.
interesting sense of humor.
You know, my wife and I think all married couples play this game where they go, okay, if you could sleep with one person, who would it be? And we'd give each other a pass on that person. And she said, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt. And she goes, well, who are you? And I'm thinking, and she goes, well, who is it? Who would you pick? And I said, your sister. And oh my shit, she lost her shit.
Oh,
well, I figured I could have said Angelina Jolie or something like that, but the odds are so against me. But fucking her sister, highly more likely to happen.
And that's the problem right there, man.
I have a severe problem. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a problem with that bottle there, man.
Yeah, first world problem right there.
I needed this to get through this tonight.
Oh, God.
I just went for the coffee when I watched the debate the second time, because I needed it.
Yeah, that's... Okay, talking about some of the why with all that, why would you need apologetics? Okay, that's an easy enough thing. And here's another piece that Truthmonger, and by the way, thank you. We've had a number of people who have helped out the show while it's going on with the Q&A system. If you are watching, of course, please, by all means, take advantage of the Q&A. That's what it's there for. Until I can figure a way of getting people to actually call in and join us, the best we can do right now. But Truthmonger's got the right thing. Sai even said at the end, when it became time for the Q&A with the public, I will not discuss Bible with a non-believer.
And the thing that pissed me off the most about that was that it was his only fucking answer to almost every single question that was asked. Every time somebody got up there, oh, sorry, I'm not gonna do Bible study with a professed atheist. if you're going to go that route, why even come to the fucking conference in the first place?
Yeah. The thing is, these are the people you should be engaging in a Bible study with. Because if you're going to proselytize, if you're going to evangelize, if you're going to get out there and profess the word of your God that it is the one true thing, these are the people you want to go after, because that is your mission. That is the black robe to the natives. Don't get me started on the Jesuits, but no, that should be your target audience. And yet this guy is saying, "Oh, I don't do that kind of stuff." Well, you know what? You're the most namby-pamby fucking excuse for an evangelist I personally have ever seen. Thank you. And I'm sober.
Well, Cash, so far you've been the nicest one to them all. You want to go ahead and rip somebody an asshole on this one now?
Well, on an apologist?
Well, the whole point of it was he went on this thing over and over saying, "I will not discuss Bible study with a professed atheist," and that was his big wall of "that's it, you can't scale my wall."
But that goes along with faith, apologist, presuppositionalism, and what he's done is he's found the problems in his faith, in his belief system, where he cannot argue. So he has taken those off the table. He's gone to a poker game and said, "Here's all the money I brought, except for this part of it is not part of the deal.
And I'm still going to keep playing the game."
Right. I'm still going to play the game, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And that's where I cannot, emotionally, I'm not to Matt Dillahunty's, level.
Yeah, and that's, believe it or not, that is actually hold off before you go ahead and you start laughing too hard on this one. That's part of the reason why I wanted to have you on. Part of the reason why I wanted to have the guys from Scathing Atheist on. Part of the reason why I wanted to have Lucinda on specifically to talk about a topic, because we are not the Richard Dawkins, we are not the PhDs, we are not the Matt Dillahunties, and the who was it that you had at the Tracy? What wasn't it?
Tracy Harris, yeah.
Yeah, we are Joe Average Q public. Right. We are not trained in all this stuff. We've learned what we've learned over the last couple of years by just asking the questions. That's the whole purpose of this particular vlogcast. We're not super special. We have been learning stuff, and we just want to talk through the things and try to find out a little bit deeper about it.
Right.
Because I'm special as hell.
Okay.
Personally, not to really plug another show, but I'm going to anyway. I'd love to get the guys from Cognitive Dissonance on here.
Oh shit, yeah, they're hilarious.
Yeah,
I think, God! Whoa! Time out. What? Cash?
What?
Did you're scaring me now? You've actually got flesh tone now.
Yeah.
Do I know what?
You've got color now.
Oh yeah, I was going. I looked at this first time I clicked on my screen, and I went, "What the fuck is this black and white shit?"
And here, I thought you were just going for effect.
And I noticed Google had me BW'd up here at the top, and so I changed it.
Wait, you can do that?
Yeah, you can do all kinds of shit in here. But
maybe I'll go sepia next week.
I didn't realize that I was black and white this whole time.
Oh, and here, honestly, I thought it was just for effect because it actually looked really cool.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought at first.
No, I'll take credit for it. Yeah, it was for effect. Trying to bring up the level of your show here by my black and white skills.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Which only just reminds me that Noah, when last I'd spoken with him, had said that, yeah, you know what, have him on your show, man. It's the only way to keep up afloat, because, I mean, he's sinking faster than anybody else.
That's the truth. I mean, y'all are the most listeners I've ever had at one time. and I've already put one of you to sleep.
That's okay. And as listener number 7, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot.
Actually, I've written everything down here. You're gonna get a couple of new subscribers to a couple of them here right away.
Well, I appreciate that. We enjoy it. I enjoy the show. I've tried to shorten the show. I can't do it. And I've tried, and it just simply won't happen, I don't think. It's a long show.
Yeah, I have so many in my list right now of different ones. I could at work go from start to finish and probably not get through a single day's worth of downloads in many cases. And now that I have a car and that I commute back and forth to work instead of riding the bus, I don't know if I want to listen to certain atheist podcasts because I probably have a bad case of road rage, and yeah.
You know, I felt obligated. I have about 19 of them on my list that I try to listen to. And I have this OCD, compulsory need to listen to them all. And my wife goes, "What are you doing? Just pick the ones you like." And well, that's a good idea. Well, I like them all, but the problem is, and you learn stuff. So I have narrowed it down. I've made 3 that I said, okay, these 3 I will listen to every episode each week, and I've done pretty good at that. And then I feel like I accomplished something. Otherwise, I end up with 14 on the list that I didn't get to.
Yeah, I know that feeling. There's so many of them that I've been going to that have so much that I've learned, and we kind of talked about it on the show a couple episodes back. Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, Skeptics with a K. The guys from Merseyside, holy shit, fun, smart. They've been Neil deGrasse Tyson with Star Talk, and just the Atheist Experience of Austin, and the nonprofits, and just on and on and on. And it's, if you don't have the time, oh my god, it's so frustrating not to be able to hear these guys.
It's overwhelming. Yeah, I do the Atheist Experience, and I do my one that I've been listening to for about a year religiously is Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
Oh yeah.
They bring up so many things that I never even dreamed of knowing about, and I feel like I am adding to my net worth. In conversation, when somebody now says, "Hey, did you floss?" I can say, "No, motherfucker, flossing ain't worth a fuck." Okay?
Yes, I saw that. I was listening to that one.
That's the kind of shit. Or that they have nasal strips for horses. Those are the things. That I go, I don't know how I lived this long without that information. And so, but I enjoy it.
Strips for horses?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. In fact, the most recent 2 big races with horses, what is it? You got the Preakness, and you have the Kentucky,
Belmont.
The Belmont, and then the one that's up there near you is the next one, and they don't allow the nasal strips.
Or they didn't up until.
Yeah. And it opens the nasal passage so the horse can get more air quicker, and it helps with it reduces this effect with the blood flow to the brain. I couldn't even talk like I'm educated in the subject, but I know enough to be dangerous with it now.
Dallin, I'm just leaving the camera on you right now because your reactions are just priceless to watch.
I'm sorry, this is honestly okay. I don't watch horse racing, okay? And even though I'm from a place where the cowboys do tend to exist, I mean, we got the Calgary Stampede coming up next month. No, I've never heard of this, and it still falls into the category of what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, Joe, had you heard about this one?
Oh my god! The only thing I know about horse racing is the joke that my stepdad kept talking to me about. 'Cause, I was. After my folks divorced, family moved over to southern Ohio, where my mom's family was, and my stepdad got involved, and we would go down to Scioto Downs, which is where horse racing in Ohio takes place, and he would always entertain us with the joke of how when you've got 2 horses neck and neck, the announcer's shouting back and forth between the names, and he always had the joke of. My ass itch has got to scratch it. My ass itch has got to scratch it. My ass itch has got to scratch it. But yeah, sorry, little humor there.
Okay, the story was, and I'm trying to remember, was this a truth or fiction kind of thing? I think it was.
I don't think so. Because they even had
No, you're right. It was just a regular story.
they had
That's
a
right.
guest on about it even.
Yeah. All right. The idea is that just like with the oh God. All right. The American football, the international soccer players, the pansy rugby players. Okay, we'll put it that way. They will put these things on the bridge of their nose that's supposed to have sticky tape on the very end,
It's like
and it's supposed to.
breathe-right strips.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the equivalent kind of thing to hold open the nasals for horses, so that theoretically more air comes in, more air goes out. And yeah.
Well, there was something that I had heard about that, as far as, which nasal dominance, really. It's kind of almost like, eye dominance or hand dominance. A lot of people have been making the argument that, the kind of person you are, whether you think with the creative half of your brain or the more logical half of your brain, the nasal passages actually have an effect on that. And somebody was, I forget what exactly the terms they used were, but it wasn't necessarily creative and such like that, but rather something to do with communication, intelligent conversation, stuff like that. And the idea was that these players wear this stuff to open up both nasal passages so that they have the physical mindset and the cognitive mindset both at full function during the game.
You'd think they'd be prescribing this to schools, schools everywhere.
It's a theory.
Just like evolution.
Oh, yes.
And
We're looking at you, Georgia.
Yes, and see, I'm thinking to myself, if you really want to go ahead and have these guys having, full use of both nasal passages simultaneously, get them hooked on coke and just get rid of the septum, and it's done, man.
Yeah. I don't know why God didn't get rid of the septum, because can you imagine if you just had one big nasal passage instead of two separate nostrils? I mean, it would make life easier. Picking your nose for one would be way the fuck easier.
Yeah, but with that idea, you've got to admit, people are stupid. And you know that if these were any bigger, we might have actually gotten people sticking something dangerous up there, and the population would have never grown to the way it is right now, and we would have died out centuries ago.
You see, right now I got two things in my head.
Yeah, go for it.
I've got the visual of coked out horses at the Kentucky Derby, just losing their shit. And the whole thing about the one nostril, for some reason, the thought of a wine cork up there just suddenly popped into my head. I don't know why.
You chose to do that right as I was taking a drink, you motherfucker.
Hey, not my fault you got bad timing. And unlike most Canadians, I'm not going to apologize. And actually, I also will not apologize for Psy. I did enough apologizing for Bieber back in the day. I'm done.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there was something that we had talked about on the show that we do last night, is that as much as there are absolute freaking wingnuts that come out of Canada every once in a while, there is also the alternative, which is we end up exporting somebody cool who stays up there. So just because we know full well that you're watching, Nathaniel, Mr. Phelps, we still respect you a lot, man, and we're still hoping that you're doing well. I know full well he's got to be watching. I mean, he's got to. I mean, everybody's watching us right about now. I mean, all two people right about now, I think.
Well, we know that the guys in the black vans across the street are definitely watching.
Yeah, and think about this, too. I mean, it's not like countries like Canada and Australia are really exporting the crazy. It's the fact that you guys are importing it. There wouldn't be a supply if there wasn't a demand.
Fuck, he's got
right?
one.
He's got a really good point.
We are exporting. The presupposition, you must be importing.
That's a good point.
And you know what? The worst thing of it is, with the way society in the U.S. is today, it makes perfect fucking sense.
Unfortunately, all too true. We've got about another give or take about 10, 15 minutes tops at this point. So, since we pretty well beat this one out, was there anything else that anybody else wanted to hit on as far as the debate, so to speak?
There was one point that I really... It was sort of, I guess, my first encounter with his arrogance.
Mm.
And that was when Matt was talking about the tribe. I can't remember the name, but that had no concept of God.
Oh, yes.
And he just kept going, I deny that. I deny that. I deny that. It's like, right there, that was sort of my first encounter with the true arrogance and la-la-la-ness, if you will, of these P.S.A. guys.
You know,
and that scares the hell out of me. That, okay, the fact that people like that exist, okay. Most of them are in kindergarten. The fact that people are listening to these guys,
right,
terrifies me. Like, I work in the States quite a bit. I won't say who I work for because, well, someone might be watching. But you know the places I've been. I've been to the Bible Belt. I've met a lot of these people. I had a chance to encounter in a restaurant when I was down in Texas recently, and it's hard for me north of the border to conceive that there are people like that. I mean, I see them on TV or I hear about them on the news. I see them on YouTube, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Then I go down there and I see it live. I'm like, how in the fuck are you guys able to like survive as a people? And I don't mean Americans in general, because I mean I got a lot of good American. My girlfriend is American, you know. I love her dearly. But I see so many examples down there of why the gene pool, I think, really needs a lifeguard once in a while.
The only thing in our favor that I can answer to you as to how we don't go all fucking nuts is because at least not all of us are that fucking nuts.
Well, and I've said it before. As an outsider, I see America on the precipice. Now, I've said this a few times in other shows and other conversations.
Glenn Beck has said that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like, you guys are on the precipice. If you go one step to the, you know, Ken Ham and other shit, what's going to happen is the same thing that happened in 1100 to the Middle East. Because that was when the hardcore Islamic came about. I can't remember the name, but that is when the cultural and intellectual center of the world, Baghdad, started its decline into the shit pump, the shithole it is now. And right now, what I see in America is, if you follow down the fundamentalist road, it is going to be theocracy. But you're at the point now that if you take those few steps to reason, the greatness Bill Nye talked about in his debate with Ken Ham can be recaptured.
Yeah,
it's on that knife edge right now. And just for the record, Glenn Beck needs to be hit by a truck. Hard. Just saying.
Profit back now.
Sure we can see about that. Yeah. Really, I think we need to hit this one really quickly. One of the last pieces that had happened, which was damned annoying for me, was very end. Wow, what in the hell happened to my picture? That's good. One of the last things that was mentioned was asking if democracy is where it should be at. And Cash, you watched this thing. You heard him say. You heard his answer, I assume. That democracy is not the way for the U.S. to go.
Right. Yeah, that was the nail in the coffin, because he believed it should be a theocracy,
and specifically
a Christian
theocracy. Right. He corrected himself.
Now, the thing that I found the most funny, and I say funny as in as opposed to
pathetic.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good term for it. Dallin?
Yes?
Do you remember where he hails from?
I've said it before, and I will say it again. This is one guy I'm not apologizing for. You imported him. It's your fault.
And the reason why I'm pointing it out is that this guy is Canadian and is a Canadian citizen. He has zero influence on what the political spectrum is here in the United States officially. Unofficially, he can talk to anybody and everybody that he wants, but how telling is it that this SOB has not converted Canada to be a religious theocracy, specifically a Christian religious theocracy?
Right, and his brand of Christian.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because only his reality is reality.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because his reality is the one where the Bible, the Quran is right because the Bible is right, and the Bible is right because the Quran is. Wait, how does that work again? I still.
Okay, all I can ask, Sai, because I know you're watching, even though you're probably masking your IPs or something like that. Okay, if we are indeed living in your reality, can you please give me the powers of Neo from the Matrix? Because I really want to. I want to try that. I want to try flying. like alter your reality to give me that, and I will actually believe. Okay, you know what? That'll probably be the first thing that will get me interested in believing. You're gonna have to do a hell of a lot more convincing than what you've done.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Tech, do I see you live and breathe again?
Oh my God, he's awake.
Welcome back.
Oh, your microphone is probably still muted on your side.
Actually, didn't you mute him?
I did. He is no longer muted as far as I can tell. We got you there, Tech?
He might not have his microphone
Oh.
on. Oh, he left.
Bandwidth
Okay.
malfunction.
That's entirely possible, which unfortunately happens on occasion. Yeah. All right, we only got a couple more moments over here before we're gonna go ahead and kick us on out of here. Cash, I wanna give you one of the last moments. So let me get the other guys out of here first before we have you get one of the last lines over here. Joe, as always, thank you very kindly for joining us over here tonight. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, you're pretty well done, aren't you?
No. I'm biting my tongue, really, because I don't know how. I don't know what Canada's official stance on the whole thing up there is. I admit I have not. I have not gone through the research of how Canada's, Canada's Bill of Rights and all that kind of stuff is, whether they have an equivalent or what all is working there. All I can say is, welcome to the idea. Oh, welcome back, Tech.
I'm never going to hear the end of this, am I?
Yeah, you will.
Probably not, but
It's going to be on the internet.
I'm sorry. I've been running around like crazy all day today, and
It's okay.
I got
We'll
my
get you in a
son in the
second.
summer, so yeah.
well, here's the thing, Mr. Bruggencate. Here in the U.S., we have a little thing called separation of church and state. It is not just that you can practice your faith however you choose, so long as you're not harming anyone else. It is also that we have the right not to practice your faith, you cocksucking motherfucker. And personally, all I can say is, Mr. Psi 10 Bruggencate, you can lick my right nut, and you'd have to go to Baghdad to find it, you piece of shit.
Okay.
How do you really feel, though? I mean,
Considering he's been blown up at least once, I don't think he's feeling real good about this one.
We'll go with once. Fine. What can I say? Shrapnel's a bitch.
All right, Dallin, of course, as always, thank you very kindly. Appreciate your time.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, whose jacket, whose shirt is it you're wearing, by the way?
Oh, yeah. This is because we were dealing with other podcasters here, I'm actually wearing a piece of swag from one of the podcast novelists that got me into the whole game in the first place. A gentleman by the name of Scott Sigler, who is he's a New York Times best-selling author, mostly sci-fi / horror. He did a great, well, he's still working on it actually, a great series of books about a futuristic football league, and one of the swag items was a football jersey. So I'll just stand up a little bit here. As you can
There
see.
you go. The Krakens.
Krakens.
And actually, it is it's personalized. It's got my last name on the back as well.
Dude, I love the Kraken ever since I hit puberty.
Let it go.
My experience with Kraken is Jewel, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Goodbye, Techie.
But anyway,
I guess
thank you.
we're gonna hear
Thank
the
you.
end of
Yeah.
All right, Tech. Thank you for the conscious time that you were able to give us. And in all seriousness, you've got a lot going on, and considering that you're going to have your little guy with you, you know, thank you. Even so, seriously.
Oh, he ran me ragged today, man. Oh, God.
Go lay down, man.
Yeah.
You know, I do have one thing, though. I don't know if you guys ever brought it up, but Sai talked about how the Bible was the ultimate truth, that it was basically 100% truth, and that in 100% truth, God is love. But he says that God hates some people. Well, which one is it, Sai? Does God hate some people, or does he love them all?
Well, because you're an atheist, you'll never get to talk to him about that.
Yeah, I
He
know.
doesn't do Bible studies with atheists.
Yeah, I know.
That too. But in all seriousness, man, get yourself some sleep. You've earned it, and of course, as always, thank you. If you've got to wave off a couple of times because of everything, don't sweat it at all. Seriously. Okay.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
No worries. And of course, Cash, thank you very kindly for your time. Plug freaking everything. It's your moment to shine, dude.
Well, folks, I thank y'all for inviting me on. This has been a blast. It's the latest podcast I've ever been on, or video cast. This isn't even a podcast. This is better. You get black and white me for most of the show, and then I go into color. But I
woke up, dude, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, I can see.
And for what it's worth, we had the very first video incarnation of the guys from the Scathing Atheist. They've done it afterwards, but we had them first.
That is awesome.
The cool thing is, when you had the black and white, not only did was your video black and white, but most of your logo is black and white, except for the red parts. You had an awesome Sin City thing going on right there.
Yeah, Frank Miller would have been proud.
I'll have to go back to that then.
Not now. Plug away everything.
Anyway, atheistonair.com, AOA.fm will get you there as well. And we've got ReasonCon coming up, and you'll find that at 2, right? That'll be next May on the National Day of Prayer in Cherokee, North Carolina. You can find us on Facebook, and I would love to again tell you, if you like to hear from Teen Atheist. My daughters are doing a podcast at LYL, Lucifer's Young Ladies, .fm, LYL.fm. There you go.
I was driving at the time while I heard that the first time out, so I didn't get to jot it down or anything. I forgot about it. LYL.fm. I will be checking that one out also later. I recently started listening, and I'm going back as far as I can with what my podcatcher can do, which is only taking me back a handful of episodes, really. But thank you. I'm having a great time so far. And like I said, part of the reason for having you on is that you're an average guy. You are one of us, just like the guys from Scathing Atheist. Noah is really smart. He's really good with words.
Right.
But he is still just one of us. And I'm not saying that to be disparaging to any of the other guys. The guys from Atheist Experience, or from the Godless Bitches, or the Merseyside guys, or Jake for Wharton. You guys who are doing, and if you're watching, of course, thank you ever so much for slogging through this. We are starting out. We are new to this all. We are the guys that have been picked up on the big... I'm really not allowed to say the word. There's a long story behind that. Who've been joining up into the movement over the last year, 2, who are really getting to understand what it all is and realizing how important it is, not just for ourselves, but for helping out the other people. And you had said, Cash, at one point that the 9th atheist commandment is thou shalt help each other's podcasts because it helps you eventually anyway.
Right.
Or,
well,
I think I may be
there
paraphrasing.
needs to be more. Well, yeah, but there is, period, there needs to be more.
Yeah.
You know, I helped Bobby C. start up his No Religion Required. He's doing good with it. I think there needs to be more because there's so many people that have different personalities where they're going to listen to me, and I've got the emails to prove it, and they go, yeah, you cuss way too much. And then I'll tell them, listen, I understand. Go to cognitive dissonance. That's
Yeah, right.
and
Spoiler for all of those who are watching: it's a trap.
Sorry, if anybody thinks that any podcast has too much swearing in it, they need to listen to The Scathing Atheist.
yeah, you're exactly right. The Scathing Atheist, cognitive dissonance are shining lights to me. They do an excellent job, and I wish I had their vocabularies.
But on another note, I definitely have to admit that Scathing Atheist definitely has a one-up over in cognitive dissonance on the dead baby jokes.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that.
That's Heath Enright. That's Heath Enright for you.
Heath and abortion jokes and rape jokes. He's got them left and right.
Heath and jokes in
And
general.
they're going to be doing twice as much because they just reached their goal on Patreon.
Yeah, they're going to do a roast.
Wait.
At our Reason Con 2, they're going to do a roast.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm just wondering if somebody's going to build
If I ever end up at a convention where those guys are attending, I'm going to do the Canadian thing and buy them both a beer.
Do it.
Oh yeah,
You ought to come to this one. You've got plenty of time to prepare.
Buy me one, damn it, I'm out.
Well, actually, no. In May, next May, that's actually doable. It's definitely far enough ahead that I can plan for it.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's free.
Yeah, I've got. I'm not sure that I'd be able to pull that off. I will certainly look into it.
I love it.
I can't give any promises. Being up over here in Buffalo with a very limited budget, to put it nicely, I do not know. But I would love the opportunity because I would love to give you a shake of the hand and give your wife the same because she's got to be a saint among women because, I mean, damn.
She's pretty patient.
I really regret the fact that I didn't make it to Imagine a Religion this year because there were so many hands I would have loved to have shaken up there, but just the timing was not quite right.
Yeah, well, we shall see how this all plays out. Gentlemen, thank you, of course, very much. Witchy Bunny, we missed you, and we'll get you a little bit later. This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun, and of course, those of you that have been watching the video on YouTube after the fact, of course, in 3025, which is when I expect that YouTube will finally cease to be. Thank you. It means a lot to us because this is not your typical podcast or vlogcast. This is the kind of thing that is really an unsexy beast, and I know it full well. I knew it going into this whole thing, but it fills a niche that I feel is still been lacking. Really going into these things and trying to understand the nuts and bolts of everything that goes on around you. It's all well and good to watch these guys talk it through at a debate and to listen to all the stuff, but if you don't understand the pieces as to what goes into it and why, it's just words. If you don't understand it all, it's really not going to hold for you, and that's one of the big pieces about it. And on behalf of the entire crew, sincerely hope that you've learned something, and it will take, and you'll be able to investigate it more, and you'll have the curiosity to really investigate more, to learn for yourself, and ultimately to teach somebody else. That is one of the highest callings that we can have, being able to teach. That is one of the most important pieces. Because the more that we teach, the more that people understand, the less bullshit can finally get through. As always, we appreciate your time. We hope that you've enjoyed yourselves. On top of everything else, the piece that you did not push, by the way, Cash, Patreon. for your billboards. Where do folks find you on that one?
Yeah, they can go to the website at AOA.fm or just patreon.com/atheist.
And that's atheists with an S because it's plural. Right?
Because we are
See?
Yeah, there's more than one of us.
I've been watching. I'm listening.
That's right. We're organized now. That's what scares them.
Yes, and arguably, that is one of the biggest things that's scary. We are here, and we are actually making things happen. You can call it herding cats, but still, when cats follow into a path and are resolute in something that they're going to do, you don't want to be in front of them.
Pride of lions.
Ain't the truth.
Just remember, exactly 2 belly rubs, or else they will bite the shit out of you as per protocol.
Which is true. Our next scheduled show is going to be the 15th of June, this very same time. Scheduled to be on with us, and I need to make sure, but he said that he is going to be willing to be here with us, is going to be Jake Farwarton from the Imaginary Fringe Show. He is going to be with us to discuss the differences between atheism here in North America versus what's going on down under in Australia and such. And that's going to prove to be an interesting time.
I'll say.
As always, everyone, thank you very much for your time, and we certainly hope to see you again next time. And as always, after saying my goodnights for all of you, I say my goodnights to my lady too, because 9 years on, I am still in love. Matane Fujin, I love you, I miss you. Dream of me. Until the very next time we get together, everyone, thank you for your time, and as always, good night.